And I don't know if it's the hair, the makeup, or the outfit, but everything on Lo is so ugly in this scene.
I'm gonna cry.
No.
I had the exact shirt that Lo has on.
Oh my god.
Like the exact shirt.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Millennial TV. Today we're going to be recapping Season 2, Episode 2, You Can't Trust Him. As always, we are your hosts, Adrian,
Liz,
And Candace.
If you want to watch along with us, you can watch on Paramount Plus in the US or CTV in Canada. But before we get into that, let's talk this week's pop culture news. So this week, I want to talk about the Mean Girls movie musical, which I watched this weekend. If you watched the trailer for this Mean Girls movie, nowhere in the trailer was there an indication that this was a musical at all. It looked like a Gen Z redo or remake of the original Mean Girls movie, which I have to say, nobody freaking asked for. It starred Renee Rapp as Regina George, who also played Regina George in the Broadway show, and it stars Angourie Rice as Katie Heron, Avantika as Karen Shetty, and Bebe Wood as Gretchen Wieners. We also saw Tina Fey and Tim Meadows reprising their roles as Miss Norbury and Principal Duval. And I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you haven't watched it, but an original member from the movie does show up in this remake. But the songs in the film were based on the songs from the musical Mean Girls on Broadway, and I was super lucky to have watched it in New York in November in 2019, just before COVID struck. And they did, unfortunately, have to close down the show because of COVID, so it's really sad that it's no longer on Broadway. But I listened to the soundtrack obsessively when it was out, and I kind of wished when they announced that they were going to turn this into a movie that they had just filmed it on stage and made it into a movie, similar to how they did it for Hamilton on Disney Plus, because the Broadway actors had such beautiful voices and it was just such a good show. And watching the movie this weekend, I feel like they popified a lot of the songs for this movie adaptation to make it less show tuney, which was maybe more palatable for the public, but it took away from the original Broadway songs, I thought. So, I mean, the movie was enjoyable, but I still think that this remake was totally unnecessary. Did you guys watch it, or what did you think?
I haven't watched it yet. We are like, we'll wait till it's streaming somewhere to watch it. But I agree. I thought it was so weird the first time we saw a trailer for it. There really was no indication that it was a musical. So I was like, people are going to be super confused by this. But yeah, I agree. I feel like turning the musicals into movies is always like, I don't know. It's very iffy doing that. I feel like it's very rare that they're good. As good as the stage production, I should say.
Totally.
Yeah.
I went and saw, they did the same thing that they did for Hamilton for the musical Waitress. And we went to the movie theater to watch that recently. And it was great. It was awesome. And I saw that one live too. And it was just, I loved seeing it on the stage like that. So I wish that was just a more common thing that they would do. Because
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I'm going to preface this with saying I'm like definitely a musical theater person. I love movie musicals. It like that's what actually started me being a musical theater person, because my family was not into musicals growing up, and I did not discover them until I was in high school in choir class, and my choir teacher showed us Phantom of the Opera, and I instantly fell in love. And then I saw Rent, and it just went on from there. And then I started seeing actual shows in person, and I was also in my theater department. So musicals have a very special place in my heart. Mean Girls the musical has never had any interest for me. And I love the movie, like the original 2004 movie. Obsessed, love it. I mean, what millennial girl doesn't love Mean Girls? But I just had no interest in the musical, which is weird because, like, I love the Heathers musical. I love Legally Blonde, the musical, but I just had no interest in it. And then I was sitting in the theater for, I think it was Hunger Games that I was watching, and the Mean Girls trailer was on. And people keep saying that there was no indication that it was a musical, but the trailer that I saw, I instantly knew it was a musical because it had that scene of her singing, like, I'm Regina George. And so I was like, oh, okay, it's the musical. But I did find it weird that, like, the clothing was the same from the original, like,
yes,
in certain scenes, and I thought that was weird because is it like that on stage?
No.
Okay.
There's elements of, like, you know, the plastics wearing pink, like that first time you meet them and stuff like that, but it's not the same.
Like identical.
Yeah, and I would say, like, even in this remake, they use quite a lot of the same, like, iconic lines, which I feel like Mean Girls, the movie, is so quotable, you can almost, like, recite the entire
Right.
movie,
Everybody can quote Mean Girls.
that, like,
Yeah.
I was, like, anticipating so many of the lines, and, like, I kind of expected how they would say it, you know? Like, some of it was said in the same way, not in, like, with a different delivery, so
Yeah.
it was really weird to watch this version of the
Yeah.
movie.
I love movie musicals, but I, again, don't have a lot of interest in this one. And I didn't really with the stage version either. So I will probably see it, but the music has also never really resonated with me just from hearing it like on TikTok and stuff.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will watch it at some point. I probably won't spend money to watch it, but I will probably watch it at some point. I do think Renee Rapp is like insanely talented.
Yes.
And so I'm sure it's worth it just for that. But there are a lot of people on TikTok right now talking about Angori Rice and how
I
she's not a
know.
singer. And I guess her performance of a certain song is like very lackluster.
Yes.
And so like it's kind of like, well, now I don't want to watch it because now I feel like it's gonna like ruin it for me in terms of, because like when movie musicals started coming out, like they always had like the original cast essentially. Like Rent had like half the cast was from the original Broadway, like, you know, so when you're watching that, you're kind of not missing out on that. You know what I mean? Like it is very different, but you're still not missing out on like the talent.
Hmm.
And I feel like this might be a little bit like you're missing out on the talent.
That's what I was the most like sad about, because the Broadway cast was so perfect, and they had like the enthusiasm, the voices, they worked so well together, they were so well casted. Like, I was sad that they wouldn't be able to, represent those characters in this version of the musical. Except for Renee, but I mean, she wasn't even the original like Regina George on the Broadway show. She was a second, but still, like, at least she was part of the show.
I just don't feel like Mean Girls needed a musical.
I agree with that.
Like, I love Legally Blonde the musical because it like kind of needed it. It's like
See, that
whimsical
one I
enough.
don't understand.
Oh, I love it. Oh my
I
god,
have
you
to say, that
stop.
one I don't
Oh my god,
understand.
have you seen it?
No.
You
I'm
have
like
to see
you,
it.
if for Mean Girls, I have no interest in
No,
watching.
Like, I'm
Legally
dead
Blonde the
serious. You
musical.
have to see it. It's life changing. It's so good. Okay, so my friend always says musicals are like, the point is that the emotion gets too high that you have to sing. And I've always like, when I watch musicals, that's what I'm looking for. Like the moments where the emotion is just too
That's a
high that
good
you have
one.
to sing and there's no other way to get it out. And Mean Girls doesn't have that for me. The stakes are not that high for me.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I could talk about musicals for the rest of my life, so you gotta cut me off at some point.
If you guys want to catch Mean Girls in theaters, you can watch it now. If not, let's get on with the episode. So, on the previously on, Kristen says that her senior year was going great until Steven came home. Then she says that it was only a matter of time before he jumped into Elsie's arms, as we see clips of Elsie and Steven in the hot tub, looking all cute and cozy from the last episode. Then she says that Jessica's obsession with Jason was too much to deal with, and then she hints that Jason is about to make a play for someone else in the episode. So, totally already spoiling that Jason is going to be the playboy that he is made out to be.
Can I just say I hate Jason so much? I hated him so bad.
You're not into this chin strap that he's
No,
rocking?
I just hated him so bad, and it was so hard to watch because I think like adult me is just like, I can't even believe that anybody entertained him for even 5 seconds, because
Yeah.
he's so obviously a player. Like, it's not, and he
Yeah.
grosses me out so much this episode, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
But he grosses me out, but I did laugh like out loud whenever Kristen says in the previously on, of course he jumped right into Elsie's arms, whatever. I'm like, it's so aggressive in comparison to Lauren, who would be like, and of course he went right back to Kristen. Like, you know, it just made me laugh. I was like,
It's so different. Lauren's like intros and the way that she talks.
Yeah, their
Kristen's
voices are like so distinct. I love it.
In the first scene, we see Alex H and Jessica going to get massages, and damn, what a bougie ass thing to do in high
Seriously,
school.
yeah.
Like, I was not doing that at all.
I still have never gotten a massage.
Oh my gosh.
Like a real one.
You need to.
I have gotten a foot massage, but I've never gotten a real
Oh,
massage.
man.
Like, there was a foot spa place, like, really close to my old job in California, and we would, after work, we'd just go over, because we were all servers, so we would just go over after work and, like, get a foot massage, but I've never gotten, like, a real, like, get naked massage.
You have to do that.
Oh my
I
god,
know.
you must.
I know.
Yeah.
I was so jealous.
Treat yourself for your
I
birthday.
know. I was so jealous of them. It's funny because they're, like, filling out their paperwork and they're like, I don't exercise or whatever, and Alex tells her to write down active, even though they just literally talked about how they're not active at all. That's the most me thing. Like, I felt so heard because I never know what to answer on those. Like, when you're at the doctor and they're like, it's the same thing when they're like, so how much alcohol do you consume? And you're like,
how often do you drink? How many times?
You're like,
how much?
I don't want to sound like an alcoholic, but a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
And then they'll be like, okay, so quantify that. How many?
And back in your 20s, you're like, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Like, do you really want to know? Because it's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was laughing pretty hard about that because I struggle with that question every time I go to the doctor. It's like, how active are you? And I'm like, well, I'm not completely sedentary. Like, but I'm not going to the gym, if you know what I mean.
So while they're getting massages, they talk about a huge fight that Jessica and Jason got into. Jessica says that there's only 2 things that Jason does that can make her happy. 1 is not lie to her, and 2 is to call her once in a while. And oh my god, Jessica, like, I don't even want to say that's the bare minimum because that's like below the minimum.
Yeah, it's just regular standard relationship shit. And it literally makes me so sad for her that that's what she has to beg him for. To not lie and to call her every once in a while.
And then Alex says that, you know, it's so weird that he feels like that with Jessica because it's not like Jessica's a psycho girlfriend.
It's sad that Jessica has to reiterate that she's not a psycho girlfriend.
I know.
Because here's the thing. Boys really made us out to be so crazy asking for the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Especially in high school. Like, they literally were like, oh my god, I didn't text you for like a week and a half. Like, don't be crazy. And it's like, well, you're my boyfriend. Like,
yeah, she wouldn't act like a psycho girlfriend if he was a normal boyfriend.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If he, you know, didn't lie to her and called her every once in a while. God.
Then at the end of that scene, it's that time in the massage where you're supposed to like flip over from your stomach to your back. And in normal times, I feel like that's already kind of awkward because sometimes it's the first time you're meeting that person and you're like, I don't want to flash you. But MTV is literally filming these 2 high school girls so closely. And I was so uncomfortable watching it because like they were so close to their boobs.
Yeah, Jessica even said, like, here's my boobs when she rolled over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the lights were on. I know it's because they were filming, but I was like, you know, we could see everything.
Everything.
Not that this matters, but like Jessica was particularly well endowed for a high school girl.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like, as a girl who also was well endowed for a high school girl, it is really hard to cover yourself in most situations. But when you're completely naked, like, I imagine that is even harder. And poor girl was just trying to get a massage. MTV's all up in there.
Camera pointing at her face.
I know, yeah, like,
they didn't need to zoom that closely. Okay,
they sexualize them so much, and it's so uncomfortable
so
to watch
much.
as an adult. As a teenager, I didn't care, but as an adult, I'm like, oh god, this is gross.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, poor Jessica. They were definitely trying to catch a sneak peek.
Yes. Then we see Lauren and Steven making breakfast in the morning, and it's as if they're trying to show this as the morning after last episode's late night hot tub session. But actually, on Back to the Beach, Steven says that this was a totally different day. MTV kind of called him and told him to go to Lauren's house in the morning to film, and he thought it was really weird. But now he's like, I can see why they made me do that because they wanted to piece the storyline together.
What?
Yeah, that didn't actually happen.
I didn't get that far in the podcast. What?
Yeah.
You have to
I
listen.
know. I'm so upset right now. You literally just broke my heart. That's one of my favorite scenes in the show.
It's so cute.
And I
know.
have written, like, oh boy, this is a big scene. And I remember when it aired, I was jumping for joy that it seems like Steven spent the night at Elsie's, and I was convinced they slept together. Like, what else could have happened? They went to bed at 4, and Elsie was making him breakfast, and it's like such a mom and dad scene.
Yeah.
They're like smiling and flirting, and literally my Roman Empire is this scene. Okay, like I love it. I love it, and I'm so heartbroken that it was manufactured.
Completely manufactured. I mean, okay, the music that was playing in the background too, It's Almost Perfect Here, was so cute. And I would say, even as a Kristen fan myself, I love these two in this scene. I rooted for Lauren and Steven in season 2 so hard.
I just my Elsie Steven art is so broken. I'm not going to be able to get over this for a while.
Just pretend you didn't hear that, okay?
We were just
it's on my
joking.
own fault. It's my own fault for not finishing the podcast. I do want to say that I freaking love Lauren's top in this scene.
Me too.
It's so Barbie.
She looked so pretty in the scene in general. Just her hair and everything.
Yeah, her hair.
Yeah, it was I love it.
And I think she's worn that tube top before in season 1, because I like made a mental note of that, but I cannot remember what scene it was. But that she's totally worn it before, but not with this beautiful hair.
It's super cute, and like it's just fresh. It's like Barbie pink. It's like so cute.
It's very cute.
Like that's what I would wear in front of my crush. You know what I mean? Like it's just a cute, like flirty, fun, like spring. Like, oh, this scene. Okay.
Lauren does tell Steven that Lo came over the other day and they spent 2 hours talking about Steven, which I totally believe.
Cringe.
Is that cringy?
So cringy. Don't tell him that.
Okay, but she obviously wants him to know.
I mean, right, but like that's embarrassing for you.
It's cute.
I'm like embarrassed for her life. Like, don't tell him that you that you spent 2 hours with your best friend talking.
Okay,
about
you're
him.
right. It's cringy.
It's so cringy. Like, ugh.
The Lauren from Laguna Beach is so different, I feel like, from Lauren from like the hills, because she would never say anything like this.
Totally different, yeah.
She really grows up. And I had made this Team Lauren or Team Kristen post on Reddit, and a lot of people had said that Lauren was a pick-me.
Totally.
And I thought that was interesting because that wasn't really a phrase back then, and it is now.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I never even like, because I'm such a Lauren apologist, of course. I never even was like, oh, like but I guess she kind of is portrayed that way.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because it's still very much split between Kristen and Lauren. Like there are your diehard Lauren fan supporters and there are your diehard Kristen fan supporters, and like they're not swaying. It's one or the other. Like, so that's really interesting.
I would say they both have pick-me tendencies. Like Lauren definitely in her ways. This episode made me so pissed off at Kristen too, because she was so annoying, and I'm like, wow, I never saw this back in the day when I watched, but like she has major pick-me energy too. So that'd be very interesting to comment on.
Kristen is just the fun choice, I think. And also people are very much like, well, he was Kristen's boyfriend.
Right.
So Kristen.
That part I understand, but like the fun side of her, like a little bit of that is like forced, I feel like. Like she laughs like extra loud just to make it look like she's having so much fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And that kind of stuff, when I watched this time, I was like, that is so annoying.
I know. I would never invite her to parties. Steven does his awkward noogie on Lauren in this scene.
I wrote that down too.
After talking with Rupert, I'm noticing
he does it
more.
all the time. It's so annoying. I would be like, stop messing up my hair. And her hair was so straight and pretty.
Yeah.
Like, I know. And
not if you liked it.
And Lauren like loves it. She definitely eats it up. And I do have to say, a lot of people on Reddit said Steven didn't do anything wrong, and basically like Lauren was just flirting with somebody's boyfriend. But here is a prime example of Steven playing into her crush. At the end of that scene, he's like, will you make me breakfast again?
Yeah.
And she's like, when? That is Steven playing into it. And if you don't see that...
No, he's definitely to blame.
Yeah, if you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. But he definitely played into her liking him so much. And he did it because he didn't know what he wanted.
You wanted both of them.
Yeah.
It makes Lauren so happy when he says that too. It's so cringy. She's like, oh, when? Like, of course, honey baby sweetie. I'll make you breakfast anytime you want.
Then we see Talon and Jason surfing at the beach, and we also get Taylor and Alex M walking along the beach. Alex M references a time when Taylor and Kristen were really good friends, and Taylor says it's so weird because one day they were friends and the next they weren't. They wave down Jason and Talon, and then they start chatting with them. Alex invites him to a poker party that Morgan is hosting later that night, but not before Alex adds, if that's okay with Jessica, which is
Ugh.
super bitchy.
I think
Yeah.
it's funny that she didn't say, like, of course she didn't, but she could have said, like, you can invite Jessica to come too, because, like, she's your girlfriend. But instead it was, if it's
Yeah,
okay with Jessica. Like, she's not invited.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have written down, ew, I can't stand a boyfriend stealer. And then,
Mhm.
yes, I realize I'm contradicting myself here because I love Lauren, but she's not quite as blatant, though.
It's not the same thing, I don't think.
No.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
she's
It's
not quite
different.
as blatant, and it's different. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I know people are gonna call me out for that, so I just had to mention it. But yeah, ew, I can't stand a boyfriend stealer.
After the girls walk away, Talon says that Taylor is cute, which kind of tees up. Don't hate me, everyone. The rest of the season. And Jason says he feels the same about Alex.
I can definitely see why Kristen and Taylor were friends and then they weren't. I think Kristen would view Taylor as competition, and then she iced her out,
Mhm.
especially when it came to
But
Talon.
that's so weird to me. Okay, maybe when it comes to Talon, but like Taylor's personality is so different. Like she seems so much quieter
Yeah.
next to Kristen that I feel like she would have played more of like an Alex H role in her group of friends.
But I think that's why the boys were drawn to her a little bit, because she was so quiet and sweet and blonde, and like she was wifey material, you know? And
Yeah.
Kristen was like
Yeah.
the fun party girl. And I think like the boys
Yeah.
started kind of gravitating towards Taylor's personality, and
Mhm.
it pissed Kristen off. So she iced her out because that was her only way of like securing her spot as top bitch, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then Talon was like Kristen's backup plan,
Mhm.
and Taylor was threatening that.
Yeah.
Like if Talon got serious with Taylor, then she wouldn't have anybody to hook up with.
Yeah, I can see that, but Talon was also hooking up with like every other girl in the
Mhm.
school. So
Yeah.
if anyone knows, let us know.
And Taylor's white miniskirt is my favorite because I had one just like it. And I thought a white miniskirt was so different than a regular jean miniskirt, like a denim.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I noticed it specifically because I was really into the whole white miniskirt thing.
it's very cute.
Yeah.
Very beachy.
And I was always afraid I was going to start my period in it.
Yeah.
Because it was white.
That would be my fear too. Yeah.
That is a very valid concern. Yeah.
I never did though. So
I love white clothing, but I never buy it because I'm so scared
Me
I'm gonna
too.
like stain it.
Yeah.
I know I'll like immediately spill something.
But I love the look of white clothing.
yeah, it looked good on her too.
Mhm.
They both looked cute on
Yeah.
the beach.
In the next scene, the three girls, Kristen, Jessica, and Alex, are doing their makeup, hair, and they're getting ready to go out. They mention the poker party that's happening tonight at Morgan's house. And I think it's really weird that Morgan decided to host a poker party after Alex's. Was it Alex that hosted the poker party last week?
Yeah, they're like obsessed with poker this season.
Yeah, I'm like, find
Yeah.
a different theme. Like, don't copy me. And then Jessica says that Jason told her that he's going out with Cedric tonight. Then we pan over to Morgan's house and we see Casey enter the door with a satiny pink puffer jacket and a sparkly jean skirt. What did you guys think of that outfit?
She's way too much for me.
It's a lot.
She looks
Yeah.
like Barbie.
Yeah.
But I did say her Chanel bag, like hers is definitely real. But think about that. That bag is $2,000.
Yeah.
Dude, she has a personal hairstylist.
I know, but like that's crazy. She's so rich.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like
They're so
that is
rich.
the design of my pink fake Chanel bag.
Oh,
Just
man.
so everybody knows.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
You gotta post
I know.
that.
I do have a picture of it because during graduation, my mom was holding my purse for me, and it was that purse. And so there's a picture of her in like one of our pictures that we took with her having the purse on her shoulder, and I'm like, that's my purse.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I totally have a picture of it, so I'll have to post it. But my own little
Yes.
Gucci bag. But I will say though, back at Alex's house when they're talking about Jason going to dinner with Cedric, and Kristen says, okay, is Cedric your boyfriend? Like, or
Yeah.
whatever. Before Kristen said that, I wrote, Jason is going to dinner with Cedric. Like, okay, is Cedric your boyfriend? Is he going to sleep with you? Ditch him. And then I pressed play, and Kristen said it right after me, and
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
amazing, because I didn't remember her saying that. But I had a boyfriend who was like that with his best friend, and it pissed me off beyond reason. Like, I was always like, okay, is he your boyfriend? Like,
Mhm.
legitimately, because we went to the movies one time and he paid for his ticket and not mine.
What?
No.
And I was like, is he gonna sleep with you?
Yeah.
Like, is that what's happening here?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you're doing the wrong thing, my dude.
Yeah.
Like, so that reaction cracked me up because I've been in that situation where a boy is so obsessed with his best friend. It was not like a gay lover situation either because they're both still straight. So,
wow, that's so funny. He paid for his ticket.
yes, and not mine. Like, it would have been fine if
Yeah,
he paid
for everybody,
both of
yeah.
us.
It's like if you have a best friend, it's fine. But if you're prioritizing that friend way over your
Yeah.
partner or girlfriend, then yeah, you're like,
That's when it's
what's
weird.
going
Yeah.
on here?
I remember it like clear as day. We went on a date to see The Dark Knight and
gosh.
the Batman movie. And his buddy came and he's like, oh yeah, buddy, I'll pay for you. And I'm like, it's fine.
Are you paying for me too?
I know. I was like, I'll just use my allowance. God. And of course, back then, like, I didn't want to say anything. He was my first real boyfriend. So, like,
right.
what am I going to be like? Why aren't you paying for my ticket? I was just like, everything's okay.
Back with Kristen, Jessica, and Alex, we see them heading out to Dave and Buster's as Kristen's driving. And in the car, they dare Alex to get a guy's number tonight, to which Alex looks super pissed. And watching this back then, we did not have a Dave and Buster's in Canada. At least we don't have one in Vancouver. And I don't think I've ever
They're
been
so
to one.
fun.
But watching this show made me want to go to Dave and Buster's so badly. But when I finally like went down to the States this year or like last year and I mentioned Dave and Buster's to someone there, they're like, it's not that cool of a place. They're like, we don't want to go there. And I'm like, no, you could not have told me otherwise in high school.
Listen, it's adult Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not fun unless you're wasted.
Yeah.
But the point of Dave and Buster's is that you are wasted. So it is fun.
I have a recent Dave and Buster's story that just happened like 2 weeks ago. We never go to Dave and Buster's. Like there is one like 15 minutes away from us, but I'm like, let's just go to the casino if we're going to do something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So Sloan is in like a weekly like group, not therapy, but it's like a couple of different kids. They all get together each week to like socialize. And they usually do it like at the doctor's office, but they did a special event where they're like, we're going to go to Dave and Buster's. But of course, one of the parents has to go. And so I made Kyle take her. I was like, I don't want to go to Dave and Buster's. I mean, he was excited, you know, because it's got lots of guy games there. So he didn't know that part of the schedule was that they were going to have the kids eat, which is fine. But he was like, I wasn't hungry because it was only like 4:00. And so he didn't order himself any food. And Sloan just got a cheese pizza. That's it. Like no sides, nothing. Like the kids' cheese pizza. And on the menu, it was like $8. And then when they brought him the bill, it was like $25. And they told him that if you order a kid's meal and do not order an adult entree, then they charge you for a full price adult entree.
What?
Stop it right now.
And they didn't tell him before?
They did not tell him when he was ordering, and he said he didn't see it anywhere like written on the menu, like clearly, so he had no idea. And I was like, you paid $25 for like a little tiny cheese pizza that was probably heated up in a microwave, you know, like we were so pissed.
Yeah. At that point, I would just be like, okay, well, turn around and go get me the difference of $17 of food.
He was with the group with like other parents and kids, so he was like, I don't want to make a scene, so I just paid it. But
Okay,
that
yes.
didn't account for also having to pay for them to play games and stuff. So I just couldn't believe how expensive it was and that they did that.
He's a better man than me because I legitimately would have been like, can I talk to the manager?
Yeah.
Because I'm not paying. I'm just not paying this much for
Isn't
a
that
pizza
crazy?
That was microwaved. I'm not doing it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy and like
disgusting.
that they didn't say
Like, it's
anything
honestly
to him
disgusting
before.
to do that to
I
people.
wish they would have at least given him a heads up, because then he could have just ordered an adult pizza and split it with her or something.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's right.
Done that.
Well, honestly, if I worked there as a server, I would
say something.
Say
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just because that's
it's
like,
so not cool.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
No. It's like, no.
And you avoid like fights
Yeah.
later on when you bring in the check.
Yeah.
So
That's gross. I don't like that.
yeah.
No more Dave and Buster's.
Just a warning to all you parents out
No,
there.
wait. I gotta go once. Oh my gosh, should we meet for the first time?
Yes,
Oh my God.
let's do
I
it.
was gonna say, we need to plan something where we all meet and go to Dave and Buster's then, just for Adrian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so fun.
And then I'm gonna make you get a weird guy's phone number too.
Yeah. I felt so bad. Poor Alex, how embarrassing. I would
know.
have straight up refused. I'm like, those girls.
Yeah,
We'll
Those
get
girls,
there.
I
We'll
know.
get there. Then in the car, Jessica gets a call from Jason, and at the same time, we pan to Jason and Cedric receiving this phone call. So, two things happening at the same time that MTV's filming. And it turns out that Jason and Cedric are actually on their way to Morgan's house to prank the girls. They put on their ski masks and enter the home.
Yeah, Jason was giving Jessica a pity call before he goes and flirts with Alex. Gross.
Yeah.
But so considerate.
Yeah, at least he called her.
Right? That was one of his requirements.
Yeah.
He's really fun. He's
Exactly.
really changing.
He's like, I'm good for the night. Yeah.
Yeah. Back at Dave and Buster's, the girls go in and strut to a table. And I know we said this before, but the amount of confidence on Kristen at such a young age always amazes
Dude,
me.
her top is so adult.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, my parents would have never let me out of the house in that.
She does not look 17.
No.
I was like, wow, because her entire back was out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was so low cut. I was really like, honestly, I was like, wow, Kristen, okay, yeah. And the other girls looked pretty appropriate for their age, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They also like have a younger face. Like they actually look like
Yeah.
they're in high school. But Kristen does look young, but she just does not look like she belongs in high
She
school.
gives college vibes for sure.
Yeah.
So when they sit down, Jessica laughs and tells Alex that she should get the fat boy with the beard's number, and they all giggle as Alex tells them that they are such bitches. And on Back to the Beach, Kristen says that Alex was totally wasted and drunk in the scene, and that's why she's kind of slurring her, you guys are such bitches. But,
Yeah.
but like, I would have not
Me
guessed
either.
that because they
Mm-mm.
all look sober to me. And I don't know if you caught this, but in the car, Jessica's in the back seat with her like Coke
Yeah,
and,
vodka.
you know, clear bottle of vodka, like totally drinking in the back.
She also had a giant bag of Doritos too, I saw. Yeah.
Yes. So they were totally wasted in this scene. But good job, because we never detected it back then.
Well, Kristen wasn't because she was driving, I hope.
Okay, I actually don't know, because on Back to the Beach, she actually mentions that, like, she did drink and drive before, but she acknowledges, like, how poor of a decision that was back then. But, like, she's like,
She's admitting
like
it.
she
Yeah.
did that back in the day.
She's lucky nothing happened.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, that stresses
Yeah.
me out, and it already happened.
Yeah. I do appreciate her honesty, though, about
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Back at Morgan's, we see Jason and Cedric running around the home while we hear about how Casey worked at Ruby's for a month and a half before she went to her beauty pageant, Miss California, where she was first runner up. Morgan gets a call from her dad, and he tells her that something is up with the security system in the house. She says nothing's wrong and not to call the cops. Taylor recalls a story where she had bought a new bathing suit and tried it on in her room, to which she turned around and saw a creepy man standing outside of her window staring at her. And then when she noticed him, he just looked at her and walked away. How freaking creepy is that?
Yeah.
That is so scary. Yeah.
Has anything like that ever happened to you guys?
No, thank God.
No.
Yeah, me neither. I would not have let that go. Like, I would have called the cops.
Totally.
No,
yeah.
that's really weird. Yeah. Thank God nothing happened to her because I
Mhm.
watch too much true crime for that to be normal.
Yeah.
I'm actually like too scared to live on the ground floor, like in a condo or apartment building, just because of like stuff like that. Because like I walk my dog and I definitely peer into people's like windows and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but like innocently,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? But like there are creepy people that could just break in and standing
Yeah,
Just
there.
be watching you.
I know Jasmine's always like, it's a good thing that we live on the second floor because most of the time, if something bad's gonna happen and they break in, they're not gonna go to the second floor. Like they're gonna
Oh,
they're
yeah.
gonna go to the first floor, and I'm like, you're so right.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not gonna waste their time with us. We work. Makes me feel a little safer. There's been like cases of stalking in my neighborhood.
Oh God.
Okay, I'll tell this story because it's kind of relevant. But a friend of mine that I used to work with, she lived literally like down the block and around the corner. Like I could literally walk there and be there in 2 minutes. One morning she noticed that there was somebody on like a motorbike, not like a motorcycle, but one of those bikes that has a motor on it.
Mhm.
And he was like following her, and she just kind of like thought it was weird, but just got in her car and left. And basically she installed cameras because she had a weird feeling. So she installed a camera on her like deck. It was like she lived on the second floor and there was like a deck, and she just put a camera out there. This guy was standing outside of her deck. Just he would walk up the stairs and stand there.
Oh my
He would actually
gosh.
walk up the stairs. That is so creepy.
Yeah, and stand there and then leave. And then he did that for like a couple days, and she was like, okay, really weird. She told me about it because I lived in the neighborhood, and she was like, just be careful
Mhm.
because I know you guys are two women, you live alone, like just be careful. And I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. So it turned out that this guy was actually stalking her. she called the police when he was on her porch one night because she could see him on the camera, and he told the police that he was
Oh
in
my
love with
God.
her and he wanted to marry her and have children with her. Never spoken to her ever, didn't even know her name.
Stop.
And and he actually hopped roofs to get away from the cops.
Whoa.
So he was like hopping roofs in my neighborhood
Oh my gosh.
to get away from the, yeah, it was the craziest thing. She had to move.
Oh
It
my
was,
God.
yeah, like it was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
You don't feel safe anymore because like he knows
No.
where you live and he can literally walk up and just stand there, like he could possibly break in.
And break in
Yeah,
at
so
any
she
time.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm not staying here. So she definitely moved, but it was really scary. Like he was literally just stalking her, she found out, which is crazy because she thought it was just some guy in the neighborhood being weird and it wasn't just like targeted towards her, but definitely
Yeah.
was. So I was shocked when she told me that the cops like talked to him and he said he was in love with her and wanted to marry her and have
Oh my
children with her.
God. Did he live in the neighborhood, or like where did he spot her?
He lived in the neighborhood, yeah.
So he must have been watching her for a while.
Yeah. He went to jail for stalking her.
Because
Oh,
of
good.
this? Oh wow.
Yeah, and then he got out. He went to jail for a while and like she was like, I'm moving before he gets out. Like I can't.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
crazy. So it didn't happen to me, but it did happen to somebody I know.
Outside, Jason and Cedric splatter jam or something red on the windows or doors, which I would have been so pissed about if I was Morgan's parents. And they knock on the windows to startle the girls, and the girls start freaking out inside. But not like a real someone's trying to kill me kind of scared. It's like the first girl in a slasher film kind of scared. And Casey runs outside. She's literally embodying the classic slasher movie trope, and she runs outside, spins around, and screams.
does that?
I know. I wanted to slap the shit out of her.
She goes immediately outside like
Yeah.
an idiot. And then she just spins in a circle and screams. Like,
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, you're really not helping your persona right now, Casey.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
All the girls run out, and when they get back in the house, they see Jason and Cedric laughing in the house. Alex playfully jabs at Jason, and he actually looks like he's concerned about her being mad, but she clearly wasn't and just wanted to flirt with him.
we also see Cammy in this scene.
Oh, I was just gonna say the same thing. Ask if you guys saw Cammy.
I did not want to mention her. I did see her.
She must have been like 15. She looked so
Yeah.
young. Yeah.
Yeah, she would have been a junior, right?
I don't know.
Are they seniors in season 3?
I thought so. Didn't they graduate?
I don't remember.
I feel like they did. We'll know when we get there.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, we're watching it for you, okay?
Yeah, we don't really want to.
Back at Dave and Buster's, an older guy is over at the table, and Kristen and Jessica encourage Alex to get his number. She does, and when he walks away, they laugh. And gosh, this is what I mean. Kristen's laugh is so obnoxious, and as much as I love her, I also feel like I would hate her in real life.
So wait, when she gets this guy's number, now that you said she was drunk, I can totally tell because she's
Yeah.
like, can I get your number just randomly?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I,
Okay, thanks.
like, so awkward. Just randomly.
I know now that you see it, it makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
But it's also like, could just be her being very awkward
Mhm.
in the moment.
Yeah.
In the car, Alex says that if she went on a date with this guy and found out that he was like Jason, she'd be over it in a second. Jessica tries to defend the relationship and says that part of the problem is that they know about Jason's past. Kristen says that Jason reminds her of herself, and she is confident that Jason has cheated on Jessica because that's what she used to do.
Okay, Kristen.
I know. Jessica tells them about how Jason gets mad if Jessica asks him where he's going because she makes it look like she doesn't trust him. And Kristen tells her that coming from someone who used to cheat on her boyfriend, those were signs of him cheating.
Mm.
Okay, how did Steven feel about this scene? Because I didn't listen to the podcast. Did he
She
say
said she
anything?
felt bad, like,
Okay.
of him listening to
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he said that much, but like young Steven watching this, like,
Oh yeah.
was probably heartbroken. Jessica tells Kristen that Kristen can get any guy she wants, but that she can't herself because she's a different girl, which really speaks to Jessica's self-esteem, and I
Right.
really
Mhm.
feel bad for her here. I think there's times that you feel that way, like we don't always feel the most pretty or the most
Mhm.
confident all the time, but especially in high school, like to hear it from someone being so vulnerable, like just feel so bad for Jessica.
I feel like that sort of explains to why she did stay with Jason, because she felt like she couldn't do any better than him, like what
Yeah.
guy am I going
Totally.
to get next, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I did feel really bad for her here too.
But I do feel like being friends with Kristen would actually kind of do a lot of damage to your psyche. Not by any fault of Kristen's, just because she's certainly like a force. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
sometimes like you feel outshadowed or not, just like, that person is just shining very bright and your light's kind of dimmed because they're shining so bright.
Yep.
And I feel like
Totally.
Jessica felt like that a lot. I feel like Jessica thought she was much more unattractive than she was. Like
Mhm.
Jessica
Yeah.
was really pretty.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think that she didn't see that.
Okay, Jessica was also pretty.
Yes.
She's very smart and
Mhm.
she skipped a grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had a great body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's smart. She's pretty. She's like, she had a lot going for her, but
Yeah.
I don't.
She just couldn't see that
She
in
must-
herself. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that Kristen and Alex, this is what I meant in the last episode when I say that they bully her. They kind of bring her down a little bit. Like they
Yeah.
don't build her up.
I get that, but I do think that Kristen is being a good friend in this
Yes.
scene because she does tell her that there are so many other guys out there
Right.
that would treat her the right way. So I feel
And
like,
that doesn't mean she should be treated like shit just because.
yeah,
Right.
And I do have good friend written down here because like that's
Yes.
the first time that anybody says anything like that to her.
and they probably do though in the
Right,
in
it's just
like
not
the back.
shown. But I do feel like a lot of the times, like, somebody can tell you you're beautiful and wonderful all day and you don't hear it, but
Yeah.
you do hear it when they're being negative. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
So like I
yeah.
feel like that was really hard for Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it. And she says like, well, every guy I've ever been with has treated me like shit. And then Kristen yells at her and is like, you've been with 2 guys. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting though, because that means Dieter treated her like shit. And I
I
never got
know.
those vibes.
I never got that either. Yeah.
You guys are crazy, okay? I told you. Dieter was like cute, but he also seemed like an asshole in high school.
But he cares about her so much. Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't get
But
those
how'd
vibes.
you get that? Where'd you get that? Just
From the
that
breakup
last
talk,
episode?
yeah.
Okay.
In that one moment together. Yeah.
Listen, I invested so much of my life into small scenes that I feel like that's reality.
That's him.
And that scene in season 1 where they're like canoodling outside while Kristen and Steven are fighting, like they were so cute.
Okay, they were cute, but again, a little snippet of time. Every couple.
Whatever,
together.
Adrian.
Hey, he could have been Jason in season 1, and MTV
That's
just
true.
didn't capture anything that he did.
He could have been, but like,
I don't think he was,
Probably not.
but
oh boy, okay.
Alex asks if Jessica would ever break up with Jason, and Jessica says that if she ever had solid proof and evidence, yes, she would.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Back at Morgan's, Jason laughs and then jokes that he should clean Alex's pants, and she gets mad and Jason looks taken aback. Then he apologizes and Alex snarkily says, I accept your apology, and then they hug.
Ew.
And we can clearly see that this is Alex's way of flirting. Like, she's mean to guys, and Jason is getting such a big kick out of it because he loves it so much.
Ew. You have a girlfriend. Like, that's all I kept saying at the screen. Like, legitimately.
Yeah.
You have a girlfriend. You have a girlfriend. This is gross. He was so gross.
It gets worse
I know.
because they go outside to chat and they have a very flirty moment, and it's so obvious what's going to happen with these two later this season.
It's actually hard to watch him flirt with Alex. It's embarrassing for everyone.
It's so sad that he's like so into her and so not into Jessica. Like, that's sad to watch.
I did really like the editing, how they did that though, where Jessica's like, if I have proof and evidence, then I would. And then literally the next shot is Jason flirting with Alex.
Yeah.
I bet she watched the season back and was like, what the fuck was I doing?
Oh,
You
yeah,
know?
I'm sure.
Like, how embarrassing. But they also had the really cool luxury of being able to watch back their life. You know what I mean? And like be able to analyze it from like an outside perspective. I wish that I had had that in high school. That would have been cool to be able to go back and be like, you were a bitch and you were not my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But don't you think you would feel so much worse at that time?
Yeah.
But now you know. And when he comes back like, hey, I really miss you, you can be
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
because I know what you were doing. It's like that TikTok. I know something you don't. Like, you know.
That has not been in my sphere.
I don't know what that is either.
Hopefully other people know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I just sound like a psycho.
I gotta wait for like 2 months later where it gets onto Instagram Reels because I don't watch TikToks on TikTok.
don't
I
either.
wait until it gets onto
Me
Reels.
too.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I refuse. I refuse to get on TikTok. I just
I'm
won't
trying
do
to fit in with the cool kids on the TikTok. I have no idea what I'm doing. So if anybody watches the Millennial TV TikTok videos, I apologize in advance.
In the next scene, Alex, Kristen, and Jessica go shopping at the clothing store that Taylor is working at. They ask each other if they're going to say hi to her and comment that she's probably going to be very fake. I feel like this is totally staged by MTV, by the way, because why would you go into a clothing store of someone that you hated unless you were going there to like literally be bitches and bully
Yeah.
her?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Alex, Kristen, and Jessica had better things to do.
Yeah. This was just mean. I think it was mean.
It was.
It was
Yeah.
And
yes.
Kristen was being a total mean girl here.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think she was so intimidated by Taylor. Because we know, like,
That is so
I
interesting.
know, we know by evidence that that's how she treats the girls that make her insecure or the girls that she feels inferior to. And everything in here is ugly because look who's working here. Like,
Yeah.
so
I know,
unnecessarily
that was
so
such a
mean.
mean comment.
Yeah.
And, like, but I will say, Taylor proves to be pretty two-faced in this scene. And so I don't know who I'm rooting for.
Okay, let's get to it. So, Taylor tells Jessica about what happened the night before and accidentally exposes that Jason was at Morgan's house, whereas he had told Jessica that he was hanging out with Cedric. Taylor asks if Jason went over to Jessica's house after because that's what he told them, and Jessica sadly says no, he didn't come to my house.
Not sadly, sassy.
What do you mean?
She's like, no, he didn't.
Okay, she's trying to mask the how sad she
It
is.
was sad and sassy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said Taylor was trying to do her best to move the conversation along to try to make Jessica feel better about the whole thing
Mhm.
because it's two-faced, sure. Like she definitely was trying to tell him that like he was hitting on Alex, but I feel like she was also trying to help her.
That's not why I feel
By
like
telling
it's
her the
two-faced,
truth.
though. It's two-faced because
Oh.
she was pushing Alex towards Jason and then straight up lies to Jessica's face about the whole flirting situation when
Mhm.
she knows how Alex feels about Jason. That's what's two-faced about it. Don't pretend to be my friend to my face and lie to me and tell me my boyfriend's not actively flirting with another girl.
See, I feel like because they're in two different friend groups, I feel like she was doing the best that she could in this
Mhm.
situation by trying to like tell her that Jason was flirting with someone else without throwing her best friend under the bus.
I disagree. If you're going to be friends with Jessica, whose boyfriend is flirting with your best friend, then you need to be honest.
I don't think Taylor cared about Jessica that much, though. You know?
Yeah, isn't there a middle ground
Well,
where
then
you can
don't
just
be
like
nice
know
to me.
someone?
No.
No. Just because you're not friends doesn't
Don't be
mean
nice
she
to me.
can't be nice to you.
Don't be nice to me. Don't pretend.
Yeah. She was put into the middle of a very awkward situation there. And
Yeah.
I feel like she didn't really know how to handle that.
You guys are way nicer than
She
me.
also didn't ask them to come in.
That's true.
True.
They literally came into
Yeah.
her store.
You guys are way nicer than me. I was like, ew. And because Jessica was being so nice to her at the detriment to herself and her friends because her friends were pissed about it.
But that was their own problem.
Right. But I will say it was really funny them calling Jessica out on talking to Taylor after they left.
Yeah.
They're like, tomorrow at school you're going to be like, I'm sorry, that was just so awkward.
I do feel like, though, this is like what you said where they put Jessica down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, these little comments do make her feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all Taylor really tells Jessica is that Alex and Jason were talking, but that it was about her.
But it wasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jessica has that in her mind. Then we see our season 1 fave, Lo, coming over to Lauren's house for a visit. She picks a flower from Lauren's front door and gives it to Lauren, and Lauren looks so pretty in her straight hair, black tank top, and flowy skirt here. And I don't know if it's the hair, the makeup, or the outfit, but everything on Lo is so ugly in this scene.
I'm gonna cry.
No.
I had the exact shirt that Lo has on.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Like the exact shirt.
Wait, that pink one? You had the exact same one
Oh
that
my
you wear
gosh.
today or that
No,
you wore in
no.
high
That
school?
do not wear it today. I was like 19 probably when I had that shirt.
Wow.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
I should
I'm
post a
sorry.
picture. I know. I should post
You
a picture.
should.
I don't know if I have one. I know I filmed like a birthday video for a friend in it. Maybe I'll see if I can find that.
If you can't, let's post that picture of Lo's outfit and then we'll get a poll going on
Yeah.
Instagram asking if
Is it
people
good
like
or
that
bad?
outfit.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
I mean, the yellow tank top underneath was weird.
Everything, her hair, like everything did not look good. And usually I think Lo looks cute.
I really did like that shirt. I'm so sad right now.
I like it too.
Adrian just broke my heart. It's okay. I don't wear it anymore. I was like 19.
I like it too. No, I take that back. I like it too.
Yeah. It's my new favorite shirt.
Yeah.
You guys are bitches.
Here we are. This is Kristen and Alex, and Candace is Jessica.
I told you this season is very relatable for me.
Lo then asks, "What's up with Steven?" And Lauren says that things are back to the place that she was at with Steven before anything happened with the both of them. She says it's taken a long time, but they are back to where they were before.
Lauren wants Steven so bad.
Okay, but you want them together too.
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
But I don't care what she says. She wants him so bad.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Over at Jessica's house, Jason comes over and they sit on her patio to chat. Jessica tells him that she was mad at him last night and he asks her why. She says that she doesn't remember and that she was just mad, which is so infuriating because if you bring something up, don't scurry away.
Wait. Again, I literally have written down, wait, that's so me.
Oh no! You know what's so funny? You're the one that so openly expresses your love for other people and your feelings, and I don't. But I feel the opposite in this situation where you're confronting someone.
Listen, I'm like the person that's like, I dreamed you were cheating on me last night. Now I'm mad. Like,
oh
I'm
gosh.
So,
Yeah.
like, I'm so that person.
I should have just had one of those last night.
I am so that person. So I felt this scene. I don't remember. I was just mad. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to know that you're mad at me, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Read my mind.
So Jason tells her that she gets so mad over the stupidest things, and Jessica rolls her eyes and asks him what he was talking to Alex about. He says about what school she wants to go to, and Jessica asks, "What else?" And he says, "What school I want to go to?" And she looks at him and she says, "What else?" And damn, Jessica is really playing the naggy wife card so hard.
I loved it though because she was really trying to catch him.
Yeah.
And she genuinely had no information though. I don't know. I liked her playing the game because he's such a player. Not on like a normal boyfriend who like isn't a piece of shit. Like I just thought it was funny because he's like terrible and actively like flirting with other people, and she was really trying to catch him. And I just loved that she was like, "What else?" And she genuinely had no information. She just wanted him to out himself.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good.
I would feel that way if I felt like she would have actually cut him off knowing that he was lying. But I feel like she was like doing that to be like play flirty, but at the end of the day, she was never going to leave him.
No.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
that was like annoying to me.
But he does gaslight her like this entire scene, and it pisses me off.
She gaslights herself, honestly.
Okay, Adrian.
She demands to know if he's lying, and she asks him to swear on their relationship, which makes me want to scream.
I know. I wanted to like throw the remote at the TV when she said that.
Yeah. Candace, come clean. What are you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. I've definitely done that before in high school.
Oh my gosh.
Not now.
Was it because you watched Jessica saying it in this episode?
Probably, honestly. Probably. I know I used to do swear on our friendship a lot. Like, that was, like, something that I did with my friends. And, like, swear on everything. Like, that was, like, a big one. Because it's like, if you swear on our friendship, then we're not going to be friends if you're lying to me, you know? So.
That's so funny.
But if you're with a liar, they literally don't care.
Yeah, he's just gonna continue saying what she wants to hear or what he thinks she wants to hear.
Right,
Yeah.
but in your brain, that's the logic, and we just go with it.
No! Jason is laughing throughout the scene and he still remains playful, but God, these two are just so toxic with each other.
Yeah, I liked how when she was grilling him and he's like, we didn't talk about anything. I didn't say anything else. But then he says, unless there's something that I don't remember. And I'm like, come on, man. You know, like that's just egging it on, I felt like.
Well, he definitely thought that she knew something and he didn't want to get caught lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So he's admitting that he did something, but he doesn't remember it.
Right. Just in case she doesn't actually know.
Right.
And then she tells him that she's mad that he's lying, but she doesn't remember what he's lying about.
Right.
I'm like,
it's going in circles.
Yeah. Jessica asks him if he wants to get dinner and asks if they should drive together or if she should go by herself. And he looks at her and then he tells her, drive by yourself.
Douchebag.
Yeah, why?
I was so mad. Well, because he basically is like, obviously he doesn't want to have to come back to her house after.
It'd like drive her
He
home.
do what he wants to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, fine, then I don't want to go to dinner.
Yeah.
Like,
that was so ridiculous.
I'd be like, you can order me a pizza. If
Yeah.
you don't want to come back here, you know what I mean? Like, I would have been pissed. I wouldn't have gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
At this point, it's like, why are they dating? Like, he just like
Yeah.
doesn't even want to drive her back from dinner. It's like,
No.
that's crazy.
So he can go be with his boyfriend Cedric and go flirt with his girlfriend Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Correct.
He has a really busy agenda.
Yeah. It's all the cigarettes and batting cages. Gotta make time for that.
Yep.
As they walk down to their cars, Jessica is nagging Jason, but as soon as Jason comes over for a hug and a kiss, we see Jessica totally melt into his arms and all is well again.
She's ripping into him about something when they're leaving her house, though. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's definitely ripping into him, and I really wish there was audio.
But I feel like that's just like her normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a little bit of a nagger. She's naggy. Yeah, and then of course he kisses her and makes it all better. And like, ew, you need to dump him like yesterday. Like, he's so awful.
I know. He's going back on what he said before or how he's acting because he's acting like he doesn't care about her, but like he totally tries to make it better by giving her a hug and a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like I can't totally blame Jessica because he is mistreating her, but there are times where I guess he's being nice to her. He's not totally mean to her all the time.
He's giving her like just enough attention that she stays with
I
him.
know. I take that back. She should have known. She should have broken up with him.
She should have,
why
but
he didn't just break up with her. Like, just be done. Just be done. You obviously have feelings for Alex. Go be with Alex.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Because it worked for about 2 seconds. Anyway, we'll get there.
And that was the end of this episode. Did you guys have any favorite outfits?
Obviously not Lowe's top. That was also my top.
Really? That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I said Lauren's pink tube top thing while making breakfast, but also I have to have a least favorite this episode, and it was Casey's outfit at the poker thing. It's awful. The pink puffer jacket, metallic puffer jacket, it was just not it.
I said the same for my favorite, Lauren's outfit with the tube top and her hair and everything. She looked amazing.
I put Lauren's outfit when Lo comes to see her because there was such a contrast between Lauren's beautiful outfit and Lo's, not. And then also all of the cute jean skirts in this, they were so cute and totally makes me want to go out and buy a jean skirt again. I feel like it kind of came back in season like last year a little bit. But when I put one on, it was so freaking short.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I walk around in these without flashing like everybody?
Right? My mom made me wear like Spanx.
Would they show though?
Mm-mm.
Like, were they longer than the skirt?
No. Yeah, she always, like, even like when I was little, I always had to wear like biker shorts underneath my dresses or like whatever. She just really was big on me not showing my undies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know?
think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, you need to wear something under that. Yeah.
Yeah, Sloan is 7 and we still make her wear like something if she's wearing a dress, because who knows, she might lift up her dress,
Yeah.
randomly. So they do that sort
Even
of
if it's a
thing.
long dress?
Yeah, just like, hello,
Oh.
like out of nowhere. I'm always
Yeah.
like, we're in Target, please put your shirt down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had like a thing when I was younger, and this will not surprise you guys, but in preschool, I refused to wear pants because princesses don't wear pants.
Mm.
And so I exclusively wore dresses all of preschool.
Aw.
So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I know. I don't remember saying that, but apparently I told my mom that, and I'm like, it's legit, it makes sense.
And she let you go to school in dresses all the time?
Yeah.
That is so cute.
That's
I think
awesome.
it was like a fight if she tried to put me in, because she liked to put me in like leggings back then, and they weren't popular. It was like old school type of thing back then, and
colorful leggings.
and I hated it because they were pants basically, and I was just like, princesses don't wear pants, so I'm a princess.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, so I wore dresses exclusively in preschool, and then I think by kindergarten I was like, okay, I can wear pants.
How about a favorite moment?
Mine was Alex asking for the guy's number at Dave and Buster's, just her slurring. Just randomly. Yeah. Can I get your number? Like, oh, it was so embarrassing.
Is Cedric like his boyfriend or something? It was so funny.
And if you had asked me before, I would have probably said one of the scenes with Kristen, but I feel like she is so annoying this time around. So I'm going to say the scene with Stephen and Lauren in the very beginning, because it's just like that playful, flirty, cute energy is just so fun to watch.
Welcome to the dark side, Adrian.
Yeah.
We are flipping.
Yeah. I love Lauren and Stephen. I don't though, but I do.
I know, I'm like, wait.
Like, I don't love Stephen, like, on his own.
If they were endgame, I feel like you would forgive him for everything.
No, if they ended up married and then I rewatched the show, I probably would have been like, ew. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But it's like he had to go through all of that just to find out that Lauren really was his one true love.
Oh my god, stop it.
It was always
not gonna happen.
Yeah.
She's married to William.
I know.
I mean, she's probably really happy, but my Lauren and Stephen heart will never truly mend.
Thank you so much for listening to our Season 2 recap of Laguna Beach. You can follow us on our Instagram at Millennial TV, that's Millennial TEAV on Instagram, and on Reddit. And if you have any suggestions for our podcast, you can also send us an email at millennialtv@gmail.com. Again, that's millennialteav@gmail.com. Also, give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts to get notified when we release our episodes every Tuesday. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.